iterations of the name. We started off on the Edwards Angel side,
Right.
and then we merged with Palmer and Dodge and moved over to the Back Bay and reconstituted as Edwards Angel, Palmer and Dodge. And as of October 1st, we are now Edwards Wildman Palmer.
Wow.
We
And you have all these cards you can collect. It's like a baseball player.
I know the stationary cost is an issue, but it's been a positive change each time, and we're really happy to have the Chicago and LA offices part of our firm.
It gives you a better ability to deal with the marketplace.
It certainly does. We're now really a national firm as opposed to just primarily known as a New England or East Coast firm. And we also have three international offices now. Tokyo,
Hong Kong,
and London is our main
Wow.
international office.
Ah.
Sorry, I'll have to. My marketing people will have my head. I'll have to dig it out of my purse.
Wendy, tell us what's on your mind today. What would you like to talk about?
Well, I'm here to talk about the fact that there's three non-compete legislation bills pending before the Mass Legislature right now. One from the House of Representatives and two from the Senate, all of which would make a significant change in the area of non-compete law in Massachusetts.
Mass is pretty tough compared to some of the other states, isn't it?
Well, some say that California is the simplest in this area because there's an outright ban on non-competes in California, and there's a debate over whether that fosters innovation or whether that actually allows people to move about without any restrictions causing damages to businesses. Massachusetts fully enforces non-competes right now, but it's subject to the common law and judicial interpretation of those agreements. It's basically a contract with some reasonableness requirement that is enforced by the courts.
And what will these new legislation do?
So there's two that would be an outright ban of non-competes in Massachusetts,
Wow.
which is a sea change for our state. One would be an outright ban with no conditions. The other would be a ban except in circumstances where an entity sold their business, and the seller would be able to engage in a non-compete so that the buyer would not have a problem with competing with the business that it just purchased. So, and then the third, which is sponsored by Representative Ehrlich and Representative Brownsberger in the House, has basically a reform of the non-compete law to restrict the time frame of enforcement, to provide guidance on what would presumptively be reasonable, and to require certain payments if you want to ensure enforceability. The biggest controversy with their bill is the attorney's fee provision, which would be a sea change of the law in that area. Currently, if an employer seeks to enforce a non-compete, the American rule is that each party bears their own attorney's fees. Under the new bill that's pending, an employer who sought to enforce a non-compete and did not successfully enforce it would be required to pay the employee's attorney's fees and possibly even post a bond
Wow.
of the anticipated fees in order to seek enforcement. So that's a huge area of contention, among others, for businesses.
Wendy, when is the vote coming up? Is it soon? Or?
I spoke with Representative Ehrlich this week, and it's currently pending. All three bills are currently pending before the Joint Committee on Workforce and Labor Development. There was a testimony period in which Secretary Bielecki, for the Secretary of Development, and also some employment groups have given testimony concerning their concerns over the bills, and all three bills are now pending.
So you render us your opinion?
Well, if we take what Secretary Bielecki said in his testimony, if the reform bill isn't passed, the governor is inclined possibly to support an outright ban of the non-compete. So at present, there does not seem to be critical mass for any one of the bills, and there's an impetus to get behind probably the reform bill or potentially risk an outright ban of the non-competes altogether. I mean, there are issues with the reform bill as well, but speaking with the representatives, they are very open to feedback from the public and from employers in ways that they can change the bill.
So what advice would you